Good afternoon. Hey there, good afternoon. This is Andy Rabens, Special Advisor for Global Youth Issues at Day 3 of the Global Entrepreneurship Summit here in Hyderabad, India. I've got two incredibly dynamic young entrepreneurs and youth leaders with us. Munira Khalif, who's our U.S. Youth Observer to the United Nations, and also Shakib Moh,
Yes.
who has an entrepreneur initiative called the SARA based in Afghanistan that's working to provide young Afghani leaders opportunities to be able to incubate, accelerate, and push their businesses forward. But I wanted to begin with Munira, who's an incredibly active women's empowerment youth activist in her own right, but also the U.S. Youth Observer to the United Nations, who's had a chance to spend about a week in India connecting with young female entrepreneurs, and also the last couple of days at the GES to give some perspective of what you've seen so far.
Yeah, it's really been an incredible opportunity to see kind of these various ideas come to fruition. I was able to visit with a young female entrepreneur and was able to tour their facilities, and she runs a company that really works on democratizing virtual reality called Mercius. And to be able to see kind of when you invest in a woman, right, the potential not only to change her own life but to change her community's life, and then shortly after that the world, is really powerful. And I think what really is at the heart of GES this year.
And Munira, a quick question for you. What do you feel is the kind of the real barriers for women's entrepreneurship, maybe here in India and the US and also kind of around the world right now? What are some of those kind of key pieces we need to overcome?
Yeah, so in my discussions, one is honestly the division of labor, right? So oftentimes women are expected to do the housework and then also to have some sort of ventures outside of it. So to be able to balance those two things, right, is really difficult. And so oftentimes women end up leaving the work that they're doing to end up staying at home. So really it's this grows greater than kind of just entrepreneurship in general, but really as a society, the kind of questions that we have to discuss about the work that is at home, right, and the kind of division of labor there, and so that women feel supported and are able to not only to be present in the home but also present outside of it. So it's really about equaling the playing field.
Great, awesome. Shakib, you have a SARA, an incubator based in Kabul, I believe, Afghanistan. You have about 450 young entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs as well, who are trying to scale and start and grow their businesses in Afghanistan. Would you give some perspective about how that's going and what you hope to get out of this GES?
Sure. Thank you very much. The people that we are working in Afghanistan is around 450 young entrepreneurs that they have business ideas and they want to try to do something with entrepreneurship and change the market or ecosystem in the country. We are putting them in a training, mentorship, coaching, and access to capital through crowdfunding. They receive 6-month training and 1 month that they can do collective crowdfunding and individual crowdfunding to find their initial investments. After that, they will be graduated and they will be starting their businesses. Our vision, our goal is that within the coming 5 years, 125 startups should be created in Afghanistan, that they can create sustainable jobs and can create somehow connect Afghan entrepreneurs to the West. GES was a very good experience for me. Thanks to the US government and Indian government, I have been able to meet investors, entrepreneurs from Afghanistan, from US, India, and across the world. We have exchanged our contact details, and the important point for me is that how I can personally, or as an organization, can connect Afghan entrepreneurs to the West and to the US market and enable them to increase their revenue, exchange their ideas, as well as somehow linkage the corporate companies from US to Afghanistan.
Great. And last question for you, Shakib. Quick question for women entrepreneurs in Afghanistan. What are a couple of those barriers and challenges that they uniquely face?
Well, the most big challenge that they are facing is the access to capital. Mostly we don't have any venture capitalists, investment funds or anything else. That was the main reason that I came to GES, that somehow I can find international investors that they can put their money or their fund to the Afghan market and somehow help the Afghan women enterprises, an entrepreneur that they can start their businesses. So access to capital is very very challenging issue in the country, not only for women enterprises, but only for overall every entrepreneur that they are working in Afghanistan.
Great. I got one more question from Munira. Munira, in addition to traveling globally, you've been traveling a lot within the United States, talking to entrepreneurs, talking to youth activists all over the country. Here, I think we have about 38 states represented, youth from all over the place. You grew up in Minnesota. What kind of, in terms of how important is the diversity of entrepreneurs coming from all over the U.S. and not just thinking about Silicon Valley as a place where startups are taking place?
Yeah, I mean, we need young people from various states with different backgrounds to really come together and to innovate. I think that throughout my time at GES, seeing how important it is, the different types of perspectives that people bring to the table and the kind of problems that they can solve. So I think diversity, whether it's gender or racial diversity, is really essential in terms of changing the world that we live in and kind of creating solutions to the problems that we face as a world.
Awesome. Last piece of advice for folks watching about trying to kind of scale their businesses, grow their initiatives. Any last kind of 30 seconds of advice for folks on camera?
So a big piece of advice that I've been hearing throughout my time at GES is really to kind of remember the human element to whatever product that you're creating, because at the end of the day it's about the user, and so you can know the technology in and out, but really it's about thinking about that person who's going to have your product in their hand and who's going to be using it. So I think just about the humanity that's at the core of all of this.
Great. Shakib, any last pieces of advice for folks viewing?
I believe that entrepreneurs should collaborate, support each other, and that's the very important point, because with the collaboration and coordination and support, we can not only make a community, make difference in the community, but we can make a difference in the countries and in the world at all.
Great. All right, we're going to sign off right now, but we'll be back talking to some more entrepreneurs later today. Hope you all are engaging and enjoying the GES action from afar.